when I moved to Toronto, I was homeless. I was living in a youth shelter. So like my whole thing was I sold my scuba diving gear because I wanted to get a plane ticket to go to Toronto because I'd been doing stand up for like a year, and I was like,
in Mexico?
In Mexico. And I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I had no money. I was broke as shit. Sold my diving gear. I had like $400 or something like that. Bought a plane ticket. By the time I got to downtown Toronto, I had $25 left. I went to a Starbucks. I took out my little shitty laptop. I Googled Toronto homeless shelters. I found a youth shelter close by. Went there. When I got there, they're like, we have no beds. So we're going to have to send you to a men's shelter. And a men's shelter is like a much more intense environment. But they're like, but we can feed you. So I was sitting there, I was eating, and I was kind of contemplating the situation. And then someone showed up and they were drunk, and they had a zero tolerance policy on like alcohol or drugs or anything. So they're like, he can't stay here tonight, so you can have a bed tonight. And I was like, oh my God. So then I got a bed, and then I got to stay there. And I stayed there for like 6 months while I would go out at night and do stand up.
For real?
They would let me break curfew to do stand up.
And you couldn't drink?
Oh, I couldn't drink or anything. I didn't drink. I didn't do drugs. I didn't do anything.
Man, you got to really want to do stand up. You got to really want to do stand up.
I actually, part of it was moving. When I moved to Toronto, I would say 95% of my sits have been sober because I was like, I don't need alcohol to recreate what I'm making.
That's fucking the first time I ever did stand up. Fucking, I've said it. I keep dodging him. I'm not dodging him, but I keep missing his call. But Christian Harloff is a stand-up comic, or he's just podcasting now, but he was a stand-up comic. He was there the very first night I did stand-up in Tallahassee, and I had a Miller Lite, and he said, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Yeah.
I said, what? And he goes, you don't want to need that to be funny.
Exactly.
And I went up on stage sober, and I killed, and I went, thank God I didn't bring that alcohol with me.
Because then it's like, that's every night. Especially when you're coming up, it's like fucking, you're out every single fucking night doing it. But I look back on like, man, where I'm at now, what I'm doing, like I want the road to keep progressing in a positive direction. But if I stayed here for the rest of my life, I would be like, to accomplish this, like I'm already like, this is incredible. And to see my friends excel who have been working so fucking hard and trying to have all the pieces come together, I'm like, fuck yes.
This episode was brought to you by The Machine.